What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for as time progresses. I want to talk about SPY, Tesla, Nvda, and a few more tickers, and then talk about CPI as the data just came out. But before I break anything down, let me just mention two things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner. Take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks. The offer ends very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's going on with the market. So right now, looking at SPY, we're actually testing the lower end of our support. It's looking a little bit weaker right now after we got a relatively hot CPI. Everything else was as expected except for CPI. It was a little bit hot. So now let's break down the data. So the data came out. Core CPI was at 0.3% month over month. This is aligned with expectations technically. Core CPI year over year was 3.9%, aligned with expectations. So on the core end, this decreased just a little bit, but overall it was as expected. Now, there is an issue, however. The inflation rate month over month was 0.3%. This is CPI, for all items. This was a bit hotter than the forecast and the consensus. And then year over year, that puts CPI at 3.4%, above the expectation of like around 3.2% or so. That means CPI was a tiny bit hot, a little bit hotter than expected. It wasn't like that much of a difference, just like 0.1% above expectations. So a little tiny bit hot, but it's not like a crazy beat. If anything, it wasn't like a huge margin, but it was a tiny bit hotter. And then besides that, initial jobless claims was as expected. So that being said, this raises one little concern. You can see the chart right here. Core CPI is the purple line here. It's still very flat. It's actually starting to drop, very sticky. But now the overall CPI got a slight increase. The last time we got a slight increase was around the July period. And we know what happened a few weeks after, when the market was still in the topping process. Another increase came in August. That's when the market started to slow down. So you want to be very, very careful seeing these increases in the overall CPI. I'll go over more, excuse me, I'll go over more details in the data later on, guys, but that's pretty much it for now. Now I just want to talk about this right over here. What's going to happen with the Fed? The Fed was anticipating potential cuts in March. Now I think that there's going to be less certainty about that. So there might be a decreased probability of them potentially cutting in March. They might just continue to just say they have to wait for more data to come out to determine that. And because of the lack of certainty, this could be a little negative for the markets. On top of this, a couple of things to know about the stock market, at least, before we even open today, we were pumping, approaching CPI. Now we're starting to turn a little shaky after the data came out. On top of this, with the slight increase in CPI, now we're going to see more economic projections coming out, more fear that could be coming out from different sources out there. The SEC also has approved changes to rules that allow certain creations of Bitcoin ETFs in the US. This was long expected, and this is once again very, very good as it's giving credibility to the assets. On top of this, there are things going on in the Red Sea with cargo potentially coming out there, but this is actually happening to help trickle down inflation, if anything. But we'll be watching to see if anything changes here, because there are still a lot of tensions going on the Red Sea. And that's pretty much it for now. If anything, I just want to say that we'll continue to do what's very necessary as time goes on to monitor the markets. I want to remind you all that for Friday, we have JP Morgan, United Health, Delta, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Citi all announcing earnings. So we finally have some earnings coming out starting tomorrow. And that's pretty much it for now when it comes to significant headlines. So what do I see for the markets? Let's break this down. I'm going to be kind of quick, guys. I'm very late. I was running late today. For SPY, this is actually starting to show signs of a topping process. There was a bearish divergence developing technically. We basically hit this resistance at 478. So I'd recommend being very careful between 478 and 478 and 480, on the S&P 500 SPY. We touched this area. Now we're starting to reject a little bit. So it's starting to turn a little bearish. We're going to be watching to see if we continue to sink. I think that we're going to be making our way down to the 474s today. If I'm going to be honest with you, I think there's going to be some downside coming. CPI was a bit hot, so just be a little bit careful, guys. There could be a move to the downside coming, so watch support all the way down there. If we lose that, there's going to be 473, 472. And if we lose 472, we could get very close to 471. We have some support there. And once we lose that, 470 and 468 are going to be our supports. So for resistance, we have this yellow trend line, 476.5, and then 478 above that, and 480. My guts tells me it might kind of chop around a bit, but eventually sell off a bit. So I do favor the bears a bit more, at least, especially going into next week. So I think a sell-off is likely pending. And I think that since we grab liquidity here, we might see a move to the downside, guys. So just be a little bit careful as CPI is a bit hot. As far as Tesla goes, don't forget that Tesla has resistance at 232, 234, especially. That's where we have the daily 200 EMA, and also 236 and 238. For support, we have 230. If we lose this, 228 is coming next. If we lose 228, our next target is actually all the way down here. Let me show you right here at 226.6. Let me just mark this down for you guys. Well, actually, technically, we have 227.5 as a minor support, but we have more support at 226. And then also, I'll be eyeing like 225 to 224 after that. So just a couple of levels worth noting on Tesla, which are going to be of significance. And we'll be watching to see if we can try to hold many of these levels or not. But if anything, make sure you watch support very carefully. So Tesla's looking kind of weak this morning. It's barely holding 230. 228 is a real possibility in these lower levels. It looks bearish for now, especially after CPI came out. Be careful with Tesla, guys. There could be some more selling. Watch supply and demand, but it's looking very, very weak, at least for now, especially relative to the markets. On the QQQ, we had this rising wedge that was forming. I called this out yesterday, but I told you to be careful with this. If we lose 408, 405.7 is a real possibility to 406, followed by 404 and 402. Those are going to be our supports. Resistance, watch 409, followed by 410, 412, and 413. It might pop a little bit, but I think there could be a move to the downside coming. There's 406 or below that, so downside is a real possibility. As far as Nvidia goes, Nvidia has been pushing, which is very, very nice. It's still showing some signs of strength, but you want to be careful with Nvidia. We reached this 550 zone, so we have this tight resistance, and we'll see if Nvidia could break this. If we break above 550, it could try to hold up for longer. We need to see this thing try to hold above that for this thing to remain bullish. If we fail to do so, if we end up getting rejection from where we currently are and we close below 550, Nvidia could be in a topping process with the markets, and we could see this thing basically approach these lower levels. I think there's a lot of tight resistance up here, especially between 551 and 552.5, followed by 555. If we fail, we have a gap to fill down to 545, followed by a lot of these wicks down here at 540. Will Nvidia end up sinking back down to 540 with the markets, or is Nvidia going to push up and try to break 550? We'll be watching this very carefully. But if anything, I do want to note that it has some relative strength still, but I'm going to be careful still. We have a gap to fill below, so we might see this thing kind of pop and then start dropping just a little bit. The market might drag this thing down as SPY is starting to sell off a bit. Finally, for Aapl stock, make sure you watch resistance between, first off, we have 186, 188. We actually almost reached 188 in the pre-market before we sold off. And also 189 as resistance. For support, watch 185.5. If we lose that, there's 185, 184.25, 183.5, followed by, let me just double check this, 182.8, and then we have 182, 181, and 180 all as supports. I know Aapl is kind of annoying since I'm calling out like almost every dollar. That's because Apple's very tight. It's been very tight recently, so it's very important to look at these numbers. And despite the fact that we had this like bullish looking chart, Apple's going to start selling off from here. So there could be more selling coming, which shows that charts are not everything, especially when CPI comes out. It could still turn the market down no matter how bullish charts look. That's the very important lesson to take away from today. So Apple might start sinking towards 185, the lower 185s. Be very careful, guys. There could be a sell-off coming. So do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you for listening, guys. Hopefully this video was helpful. Just know the market is starting to sell off thanks to CPI. Watch supports. Overall, CPI was okay, I would say overall, but CPI itself was a little bit hot, but core was decent, which is why I'm saying it's like okay. But because CPI was a little hot, this adds to uncertainty about the Fed's policies, and that is a little negative for the markets. All right, so hopefully this video was helpful. Have a great day. I'll see you guys very soon on the next one, and peace out.